There's a book that was written by these two white gentlemen called Without Sanctuary. If you ever get a chance to read it, it is one of the most profoundly disturbing books I've ever seen in my life. And it's a pictorial history of lynchings and what they used to call nigger barbecues. I'm talking about children, women, male adults lynched. And then they used to put us alive on spits with a fire beneath it and turn us and roast us until we dehydrated. And they pick up pieces of the bodies, and hundreds of whites would be standing taking pictures with a body piece in their hand. They have the pictures, they show the pictures in the book. And I said, just get over that. You don't get over that. You have to move on. You have to live your life. You have to grow. You have to accomplish. You cannot use excuses. But that is in spite of your history. Get over it. See, people who say those. So I'm not so sure that Mr. West has. But he had this lyric that's stuck in my head to this day. And he says, "Oh, my people, for that dollar, how low you'll stoop. When you riding in your Benz, it's to a nigga in a coupe." The book that was written by these two white gentlemen called Without Sanctuary. If you ever get a chance to read it, it is one of the most profoundly disturbing books I've ever seen in my life. And it's a pictorial history of lynchings and what they used to call nigger barbecues. I'm talking about children, women, male adults lynched. And then they used to put us alive on spits with a fire beneath it and turn us and roast us until we dehydrated. And they pick up pieces of the bodies, and hundreds of whites would be standing taking pictures with a body piece in their hand. They have the pictures, they show the pictures in the book. And I said, just get over that. You don't get over that. You have to move on. You have to live your life. You have to grow. You have to accomplish. You cannot use excuses. But that is in spite of your history. Get over it. See, people who say those. So I'm not so sure that Mr. West has. But he had this lyric that's stuck in my head to this day. And he says, "Oh, my."
Police officers, they were charged, they were arrested, they were fired, and I believe that all of them should be fired, all of them should be charged. But I want to say to you on record, where is the white officer holding the taser? How come his picture is not on the news, and how come his name has not been called? Not only him, I want the emergency medical technicians who sat around and did nothing for 23 minutes while our brother died. I want all of them charged. I want all of them persecuted. And I want all of them investigated. It is not just what it's taking to place in Memphis. It's taking place in Atlanta. It's taking place in Baltimore, taking place in Chicago, and all of these units that are really gangs with badges have got to be disarmed immediately. The question that every mayor has got to answer, every police chief has got to answer, if we were able to fire and charge those black officers that quit, I want white officers charged just as quickly and arrested just as swiftly and justice met at the exact same time. These five.
We're talking Black History Month, y'all. Black History Month. That's what we're talking.
Come here, check this out.
Black History Month is what we're talking about. Black history. Word to power. Haha. Tell you people. It's crazy. 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 All right now. King Los, yo.
I got a burrow, I got a rod. If nerds looking for beef like Harold and Kumar. I'm from a block where the methamphetamines move. And the crooked judicial systems never let the kings rule. Where history falsified and taught in every school to disconnect you from your culture like everything cool. See what having low self-esteem do? Got you praising the lineage of oppressors with recessive gene pools. Ooh. I guess from that perspective, we are foes. I mean, you niggas was accepted, we was chose. If you don't postulate what I aesthetically propose, and we don't vibrate, that means we diametrically oppose. Yo, I hope this message electrifies. The European be leveraging privilege through ethnic bias. If you ain't do no scholarship on this, don't dare speak. This that ether that's gonna separate leaders from mere sheep. It's like whipping on the back of a slave with bare feet. When historically black college universities pledge Greek. It just isn't in your favor. It's of sick, twisted, sadistic, ritualistic nature. Look, you think it's odd they slaved you? If the slave master ain't served the same God they gave you, 400 years. Hold up. Yeah, hold up. Look. You think it's odd they slave you? If the slave master ain't served the same God they gave you, 400 years later, and you hardly stable, and you turn around and beg that same God to save you. Look, word to the sunrise. Homie, save yourself. Everything else, get a thumb drive. The young lives of black queens lost, misplaced, who've been raped, beaten, indoctrinated, and disgraced. We've been wet, shackled, and mutilated, put through degradation, disrespectfully viewed and hated.
Black History Month, y'all.
Treated like shit in this fucking nation. Then in 1850, slaveholders came with this publication called How to Make the Ideal Slave. Now dig the vision. Rule number 1 was unconditional submission. Keep them in place with authority, because rule number 2 was create inferiority. And Ye said that slavery was a choice, but let's be real clear. Rule 3 was take away their voice and instill fear. And hell yeah, I can see the passion in your eyes. I admire your perseverance for your fashion and your grind. But rule number 4 is why the heck was our demise. You keep the slave interested in the master's enterprise. Because rule number 5 was the province of education, information, recreation. Look. Love. You listening to me? Teacher, we listening. Teacher. The province of information. That's a psychological prison. Niggas have yet to come out because the slaves caught you. Man, hold up. That's a psychological prison. Niggas have yet to come out. If the slave master caught you learning, they cut your tongue out. Yes, yes. If the slave master caught you learning, they cut your tongue out.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. My name is Mikaal Ban Yahoshua. Welcome, 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 welcome. Mikaal Ban Yahoshua. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Mikaal Ban Yahoshua, and welcome to Truth Matters Broadcasting, where we discern the truth for ourselves about religion, the kingdom of the only true, the most high, our higher power, our Elohim, our Adonai Elohim, our God, Yahweh. I call upon that name, Yah-oh, baby. Yah-oh, baby. That's the name of our God. Now, you won't know what I'm talking about if you are a Christian. You won't know what I'm talking about if you're an Israelite, Hebrew Israelite. You won't know what I'm talking about if you're a so-called Israelite or so-called Israel. You won't know what I'm talking about if you're a Muslim. You don't know what I'm talking about if you're a Buddha or Buddhist. You won't know what I'm talking about if you're Scientology or Scientologists or whatever aegis you are, or ism, schism you are connected to. You won't know what I'm talking about. Our God, the God of Yahosharal, the true blood descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, is Yahosharal. There's no other God. Someone said, no gods, exit lies, whatever that mean. Hey, listen, you have your own opinion. I ain't nobody gonna take that from you. You have your own ideology. Ain't nobody gonna take that from you. You have your own understanding. Ain't nobody taking that from you. And I'm not here to take that from you also. You're on my platform. You're on my platform. So if you're on my platform, you're going to hear what I got to say. If you don't like what I got to say, then move somewhere else. Because I'm not here to win anyone. One thing I can tell you for certain, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I can tell you for certain, his sheep know his voice. And when they hear it, they'll come. His sheep know his voice. His sheep know his voice. And we are his sheep, and he is our shepherd. He knows our voice. We know his voice. And when we hear it, we'll come. So if you hear something from my mouth and you are truly a sheep, you can accept or reject it. That's the one thing I love about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The God the true Elohim that I worship. When you come to know the truth, no one can take it away from you. Well, once again, my name is Maker Albania Osharal. Welcome to Truth Matters Broadcasting, where we discern the truth for ourselves about religion, the kingdom of God, and the church. We're streaming live from my home studio, and we're streaming on 4 major platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So thank you for joining me. For those on TikTok, we had a really good, wonderful time today. I hope some of you that was on TikTok earlier today in the shop, I hope you are joining me here live in the studio today. I appreciate you guys. It was really, really wonderful. A really good number of viewers out. Really, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to open up the lines to the studio. This studio line is 207-241-2317. That's 207-241-2317 for anyone who would like to call in. For those who have 1,000 followers on TikTok and you would like to join in, or you have a comment, you have a question, whatever the case may be, you can join me, but you have to have 1,000 followers to go live on TikTok. For those of you on Instagram who are waving, hi, how are you guys doing? I'm going to wave back. You can post your question and I will get to you. Also from TikTok, you can post your questions as well, and on Facebook and YouTube. I'm having a little trouble getting through on the restream live for Facebook, but if you go restream, if you do comment on YouTube, I can actually see it, but I'm working through the kinks. I don't know why it's not coming through on Facebook, but I find another way where I can actually get to see your comments live on Facebook. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put up the screen for YouTube. I can see your comments very, very easy. And I'm gonna go on Facebook now and see if I can open up another window on my second computer over here. And then I should be able to see all of your Facebook comment for those who would like to comment. Let me make sure here. This could be a pain in the butt. Okay, let's see here. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Yep, 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 yep. All right, let me go. All right, so let me do this and big this up. And then we'll be able to I'll be able to see all your comments. Because one of the things is I noticed I'm getting a lot of comments on Facebook, but hold on, let me. And then we'll be able to I'll be able to see all your comments. One of the things is I noticed I'm getting a lot of. Good, here we go. All right, so, yep. So if you're commenting, I should be able to see it now. I should be able to see everybody live, well, on all the platforms. Hi, how are you? Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, so just here to call out the lies when I see them. All right, who are you? And let me see. When I'm doing TikTok on my phone, so I can't see your name, but I can definitely see your comment very boldly. So your name is No God Exists. No God Exists. So I don't know if I want to go down that road with you because just based upon your name, you don't believe in a God. So this is not the platform for you because you don't believe in a God. So no God exists. You just appear. Why don't you call into the studio, man? Is it possible for you to call into the studio? I would like to hear people. I would like to hear your views. I don't know if you have 1,000. Do you have 1,000 followers? Do you have 1,000 followers? If you have 1,000 followers, I would love to hear your views on this no God exists, prove existence, all these different things. Um, I would love to hear your views. And I know a lot of my followers and subscribers would love to hear your views as well. Call into the studio. No God exists. 207-241-2317. That's 207-241-2317. Call into the studio so we can have a go around. Because if you're on my platform and you're here to what you said, just here to call out the lies when I see them. Let's call into the studios and let's have the conversation. All right. I find this very, very interested, ladies and gentlemen, that most time people want to come on your platform and they want to come on your live and they want to comment. Like Alfredo Valentino, I'm calling you out too, man. Alfredo Valentino, love to come up on my live and love to interject but never would come to the table and have the conversation. And I say, you know what? I got the ravenous bird who is a lot more educated than me and have a lot more information on me on our history and a lot of information on the Hebrew text, Greek text. I said, why don't you come to the table? Let me bring both of you together and then you can spew all you want. But he would never come on my live. He would never have the gall, the gall, to come on my live and spew. This guy here, no God exists. I just gave you my number. Give it a call. You won't call. It's just what y'all do. You like to sit in the background and you like to make yourself known. But the problem is you don't have the guts or you don't have the information to back up what you have to say. And I'm cool. I'm not here to fight with anyone. Like I said before, I'm not here to argue with anyone on what you believe and what you think. And even if you disagree with me, that's okay. That's okay. It's all right to disagree with me. When Yahushua walked the earth, a lot of people disagree with him too. Even though he was doing miracles, he was healing the sick, raising the dead, driving out demons, walk on water. And guess what? They keep saying he never exists. They keep saying he had a demon. They said all type of things about him. That perfect Mashiach, the perfect Messiah, walked the earth. And we'll look at what they said about him. So what are they going to say about me, a man who is filled with sin from the day I was born till now? What are they going to say about me? Man, please. Go someplace else, man. Go entertain yourself someplace else. All right, so word to power, ladies and gentlemen. This is my fourth series of word to power. I'm inspired to do that because, it's Black History Month, and I'm looking for Black history, true Black history. And this morning I was talking to those on TikTok, and I was telling people that, listen, Black history doesn't begin with slavery. And I think a lot of people don't realize this. There we go. Black history doesn't begin with slavery. And that's what Black History Month does. Black History Month is a reminder for our people that we were once slaves in this country and the heartache that we go through. But do you know that 90% of Africans, 90% of the people living in Africa right now is under the age of 33 years old? 93% of Africans today are under the age of 33, and they know nothing about slavery. No, go figure that out. Go figure that out. That's the percentage. You go and ask your Black children today. You go and ask. Go ask what is being taught in the schools today about real African, real Black history. And go look and see who is teaching the history. Who is teaching the history to our children? What are they learning? We're talking Black history. Are we not celebrating Black History Month? And let me ask you guys a question. Is it just Black people that should celebrate Black History Month? Or is it or should it be white people that celebrate Black History Month? I don't see no white people celebrating Black History Month. And the question is, why not? Why is it that white people ain't celebrating Black History Month? When I look at the things that happened to us, and everybody would say the plantation owners. It wasn't the plantation owners that out here beating us and whipping us and hanging us on trees. You think it was the plantation owners that was doing that? Nah. It's not the plantation owners. They were rich. They're not going to get their hands dirty. They weren't the one lynching us. Who was lynching us? Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen. It's our history. It's history. I know it's hard and you want to forget it. Oh, it's 150 years ago. You want to forget that. Yeah, let us move on. Can't we just get along? Let's just move on. Let's just move on. Let's just move on. Come on, man. Can't move on. How can you move on? How can we move on, ladies and gentlemen?
My people for that dollar. How loyal. There's a book that was written by these two white gentlemen called Without Sanctuary. If you ever get a chance to read it,
Without Sanctuary.
One of the most profoundly disturbing books I've ever seen in my life. And it's a pictorial history of lynchings and what they used to call nigger barbecues. I'm talking about children, women, male adults lynched. And then they used to put us alive on spits with a fire beneath it and turn us and roast us until we dehydrated. And they pick up pieces of the bodies, and hundreds of whites would be standing taking pictures with a body piece in their hand. There's a book.
Y'all hear this?
That was written.
That's your history.
These two white gentlemen. There's a book that was written by these two white gentlemen. 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 Two white. gentleman called Without Sanctuary. If you ever get a chance to read it, it is one of the most profoundly disturbing books I've ever seen in my life. And it's a pictorial history of lynchings and what they used to call nigger barbecues. I'm talking about nigger barbecues, nigger barbecues, nigger barbecues, nigger barbecues, nigger barbecues, nigger barbecues. I'm talking about children, women, male adults lynched. And then is to put us alive on spits with a fire beneath it and turn us and roast us until we dehydrated. Alive on spits. Then is to put us alive on spits with a fire beneath it and turn us and roast us until we dehydrated. And they pick up pieces of the bodies, and hundreds of whites will be standing taking pictures with a body piece in their hand.
Now, let me tell you something. When I hear this, when I look at the horror of the history of Black people in the Caribbeans, in the European nations, and in America, my ancestors, what they went through. And when I look at the simple things that remind me of these things, we're talking Black History Month here now, ladies and gentlemen. It's the one month in the year that the masses gave us to speak, to openly talk about this thing. And we don't do a good job at it. We don't openly talk about the horrors. We got to bring this Holocaust back. We got to bring this horror back. We got to let people know this is what happened to our ancestors. This is what happened to us. And some of the things that I look at, ladies and gentlemen, when I see like a hunter, and I have a lot of white friends, man. I have a lot of white friends that go out hunting. And when they shoot a deer, or they shoot a bear, or they shoot a freaking turkey, they put it up and they hold the horns and they take the pictures. Look at my kill. When they shoot a moose and they hang it upside down and they take a picture behind that moose. Every time I look at that, I remember the strange fruits on the tree. I remember how proud my friends are to kill that turkey, to kill that moose, to kill that deer, to kill that alligator and take a picture of it and put it up on Facebook and say, look at my kill. Every time I look at that, man, I remember. It reminds me of what happened to my ancestors in this country not long ago. I will never forget that. And I will teach that to my children and their children after them. But here's the thing, I will never let you forget it either. You want to walk around as if to say, oh, that wasn't me. That was my ancestors that did that. That wasn't me. And I get it. It's not you. I'm not mad at you. Here's what I'm really mad at. I'm not mad at you, who are the benefactors of what your ancestors did to us. I'm not mad at you for that. Here's what I'm mad at you for. You don't have the guts to stand up and do something about it. That's what I'm angry with you for. I'm angry with you because you don't have the gut to stand up and do it. And you say, well, what can I do? Aren't you a Christian? Aren't you a believer? Don't you believe in this God? Aren't you reading this book? Don't you know what he's saying in this book? If you go to give your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother has aught against you, leave your gift at the altar and go reconcile with your brother. But how can you? How can you come reconcile with me when you were a Christian doing the things you're doing to us? Your ancestors were Christians. They were believers. They would lynch my ancestors. They would burn, cut out the intestine of my ancestors, do all types of cruelty, rip them in four, and take a body part, take the hair of my ancestors, and put it in pillowcases to make pillow, put it in furniture. Come on, man. That's your history. Black history is your history too. So I'm not only here talking to my descendants, my children. I'm here talking to you, and you don't like the fact that I'm doing it because you think I'm causing dissension. I'm not causing dissension. This is history, and the only way we're going to truly become a people is if you stand up and say, I am still benefiting from the slave plantation owners. I'm still benefiting this. I'm still being benefited from it. And I know you think we have equality. Man, there's no equality, man. Just look at the numbers, damn it. Just look at the numbers. There's no equality. Yeah, I know you work hard for yours. I know I'm working hard alongside you. I know we probably have the same struggles in the work, in going to work and paying bills. I get that. I understand that. But me tell you something, man. You just got to look at the numbers. Don't look at me. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Look at the damn numbers. Look at the numbers when it comes to you and your family versus me and my family. Look at the numbers. I'm not telling you to pinpoint the one or two that rise above the thing. I'm not telling you that. I'm not telling you the one or two that they let through. I'm telling you to look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. You know, I can't tell you how many times I hear people say, well, black people just get up and pull them stuff up by their bootstraps and buckle down and get it. They can make it. Look at you. Look at you. And then people use me as an example. Look at you, man. You're doing very well. Am I? Am I doing well? There's a lot of my sisters and brothers that don't have what I have. And maybe I'm put in a different situation than them. But that's not the point. The point is the systemic racism that is still happening today. That nobody seems to want to acknowledge it. I want to acknowledge these things. This is why I like when white people come out and give us the numbers. I love when white people give us the numbers. I've been putting up on my Facebook page a lot of history and a lot of facts spoken of by white people about the system that is holding back the black family. By white people are saying it. And you still won't believe me. You still don't believe them. You won't believe when I speak, and you still won't believe when a white person speaks. Who are you going to believe? Because if you have to believe it, if you have to accept it, then you are benefiting from it. True freedom, ladies and gentlemen, is when everyone come together and say, okay, we're all being controlled. But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. For me right now, my focus is not on everybody. I'm not focusing on everybody. Not focusing on everybody. I'm not looking for world peace either. So don't get me lying. I'm not looking for world peace. Because I'm not focusing on everybody. I'm focusing on the children of Yaosher Al, who can chase their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. I'm looking at you. Because the power is in you. The covenant is with you. The name and the bloodline and the seed of the promise is with you. And because you don't know yourself, and because you don't know the God, the Allah aim that you worship, we're still in slavery. Oftentimes I tell people to read Deuteronomy 28. And I've been singing that song for the longest time. Read Deuteronomy 28. I've been singing that song. My question to you, all of you who follow my page, who's on my page, have you taken the time to read Deuteronomy chapter 28? Have you taken the time to read it? Have you taken the time to look at the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28? And I always said, read verse 15 through the end. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through the end. And you will see some of these curses. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Adonai Elohim, Yahweh, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that our Elohim will set thee on high above all nation. Where? Above all nation of the earth. All nations of the earth, we are to be set above. Above. Do you understand that, ladies and gentlemen? Descendants of the Atlantic slave trade. My computer just blanked out, I see. Okay, came right back in there. All right. Descendants of the Atlantic slave trade. Talking to you. I know I'm censored, I can feel it. But I don't care. And all these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of your Adonai Elohim. Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the fields. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of the ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kin, the flocks and sheep. Blessed shall be the baskets of thy store. Blessed shall thou be when thou cometh in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goest out. Our other aim, Yahweh, shall cause twine enemy that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way and flee before thee 7 ways. Our Adonai shall command his blessings upon thee in the storehouse and in all that thou settest twine hands unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which our Adonai Elohim giveth thee. Our higher power shall establish thee a holy people unto himself. Y'all, man, you don't understand this. Unto himself. Unto himself. Oh, Adonai Elohim. Verse 9. The Adonai shall establish thee a holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of our God, of Adonai Elohim, and walk in his ways. This is our biggest downfall, ladies and gentlemen. We have allowed Christianity to take you away from the commandments of our God. And Christianity has brought you grace. And because you have received grace, you have forgotten the law and commandments of your God. And because of that, the slave master gave you a God, and you've been calling on his name forever, and you don't realize you've been fooled. The world will hate me, and it's okay. I'm prepared. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of thee. Is anybody in the world afraid of black people? Not even black people. You. Those who can chase their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. I'm talking to you. Read the rest of that. But let's jump down to the curse, man. Jump down to the curse because we forfeit these blessings. We have forfeit these blessings and we're now into the curse. Curse of disobedience, it's called. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh, to observe and to do his commandments and his statutes which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the fields. Cursed shall thou be the basket of the store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kin, the flock of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou come in, and cursed shall thou be when thou go out. Adonai shall send upon thee curses, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed. You're going to work and you're slaving away. You can't make ends meet. You've been exploited and you don't even know it. And until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doing, whereby thou hast forsaken me. I'm telling you, to get from underneath this curse, we have to come back. We have to come back to obedience. Christianity doesn't teach obedience. Christianity teaches grace, and most of our people are locked in Christianity. So obedience has always have been. It's always about obedience. Even Yahushua tells us, think not I've come to destroy the law nor the prophets. I've not come to destroy the law or the prophets. I have not come to destroy the law or the prophets. I've come to fulfill them. And if anyone, he says, teaches these laws and do them shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. It is what he taught when he was here. He brought us back to Torah. He brought us back to the prophets and the Psalms. But someone lied to you and tell you that the so-called Jesus gave you Christianity, and you're such a dummy to not look at the Bible, to not look at the Bible, the teachings of Yeshua, of Yahushai, sorry. To not look at the teachings of Yahushai and see for yourself that he taught the Torah. All of you today who call yourself Christians, you're a follower of Paul. Whether you know it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, you are a follower of Paul. Verse 21 of Deuteronomy 28. Adonai shall make the pestilent clave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Adonai shall smite thee with a consumption, and with fever, and with inflammation, and with extreme burning. Oh, y'all know what that is. And with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And the heavens that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that underneath thy feet shall be iron. Adonai shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust from heaven. Shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. Adonai shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Everything we've done to free ourselves, everything we've done to make it better for our people, it blows right up in our face. You won't have no freedom here You're not going to be free here to be economically free, to have power. You will never have power until you go back to the commandments of our Adonai and call upon his name. That is when you're going to have power. For those who joined me on TikTok today, I told you, call upon the name of Yahweh and see what happened. For those who are watching me on Facebook and YouTube, I have it overlaid there. It's running. Put that name, the name of Yahweh, to the test and watch and see how your life will change dramatically. You've been calling on the name of Jesus and you don't realize you've been living a lie all this time. Verse 26, what he says here at the end of verse 25, remove into all the kingdom, and thou shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth, as it is to this day. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Look at our ancestors. Look at our history, man. Look at our history. Strange fruit hanging on the tree until it's gone. The birds come and eat the flesh of our ancestors. Even today in the 21st century, we're still having lynchings, even today. Verse 27, and Adonai will smite thee with the butch of Egypt, and with the emerald, and the scalp, and with the itch. Therefore thou canst not be healed. Oh my goodness. Adonai shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind grope in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoil evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt bestow a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Isn't that what happened to our ancestors? Isn't that what happened? How they have to hide and marry, and when they do marry, the slave master will come and sleep with the wife before the husband. You besought a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. Our ancestors went through that. You look at your life today, you might think you're free because you have some freedom to move around. And maybe you're not a chattel slave like your ancestors, but you're a slave nonetheless. Twine ox shall be slain before twine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Twine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Aren't you guys looking for reparation? How long have you been waiting for it? Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hands. Isn't that you? Isn't that your history? I've asked you to read it, man. I've asked you to read Deuteronomy chapter 28, because if you do read it, you're going to see the truth. All right, I'm not going to spend no more time here. I'm not going to spend no more time here. If I was here winding up myself and gyrating and do all kind of crap, I'd have 10 million people watching me right now. If I was gyrating, if I just sit here like this, like how I started out, if I just sit here like this and don't do nothing and don't say nothing, you would see how many people are watching me. You would see how many people are commenting, how many emojis are going up, how many dollar signs are going down. I see a guy, he just stand right there. He's just like this, and he's not saying a word, and he's just staring in the camera for hours, and they paying him and buying emojis and all kind of stuff. Because stupidity is what entertains people. But truth, who wants truth? Who wants truth? Who wants this? Who wants this? Who wants this? And you know what's so crazy, ladies and gentlemen? You know what's so crazy? Everybody look at this and feel like, even our own people, that's in the past. Let's just move on. Let's come together and make a unity of people. I don't know how dumb and stupid you are. You look at the history, man. Look at the history. Look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all these different places where we came together and built a Wall Street that was richer than, come on, you see the history. You see the history. You think it's the plantation owners that's doing this? Yes, they're the one that's perpetrating. They're the one that holding that, but nobody sees them. They dress up in their suits and they come out on top. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're funding. Who did these things? They themselves don't get their hands dirty. You ever seen the top drug dealer holding the drugs? No. They get other people to do that for them. You think of the Ku Klux Klan. You think of the Ku Klux Klan. The masters, they don't go out there doing all that. They don't do that stuff. They just get people to do it for them. My people, it is time for us to go back to our Adonai. Blessed be his name.
They have the pictures, they show the pictures in the book. And they say, just get over that. You don't get over that. You have to. And they say, just get over that. And they say, just get over that. You don't get over that. And they say, just get over that. And they say, just get over that. Just get over that. You don't get over that. You have to move on. You have to live your life. You have to grow. You have to accomplish. You cannot use excuses. But that is in spite of your history. Get over it. See, people who say those. So I'm not so sure that Mr. West has. But he had this lyric that's stuck in my head to this day. And he says, "All my people for that dollar. How low you'll stoop. When you riding in your Benz, you stole a nigga in a coupe." There's a book that was written by these two white gentlemen called Without Sanctuary. If you ever get a chance to read it, it is one of the most profoundly disturbing books I've ever seen in my life. And it's a pictorial history of lynchings and what they used to call nigger barbecues. I'm talking about children, women, male adults lynched. And then they used to put us alive on spits with a fire beneath it and turn us and roast us until we dehydrated. And they pick up pieces of the bodies, and hundreds of whites would be standing and taking pictures with a body piece in their hand. They have the pictures, they show the pictures in the book. And I said, just get over that? You don't get over that. You have to move on. You have to live your life. You have to grow. You have to accomplish. You cannot use excuses. But that is in spite of your history. Get over it. See, people who say those. So I'm not so sure that Mr. West has. But he had this lyric that's stuck in my head to this day. And he says, "Oh, my people, for that dollar, how low you'll stoop."
I tell you, man. I tell you. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you, I tell you. I tell you, my friends, way down we go.
Why don't you own commercial real estate?
Way down we go.
Why don't you own commercial property? After all.
Way down we go.
Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what we deserve? Oh, we get what we deserve. And where down we go, oh, 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 where down we go, oh, 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 so where down we go, way down we go. Oh, you let your feet run wild. Time has come as we all go down.
I don't own the rights to this song.
Do you dare to look her right in the eye? Yeah. Oh, God save me, run you down to the door. Yeah, someday we run you down to you fall. Oh, and they will run you down to you go. Yeah, till you can't go no more. And where down we go. Oh, where down we go. Say where down we go. Oh, 'cause say we're running down to your house. Oh, way down we go. way down we walk. So way down we walk. Way down we walk. If you guys don't understand the connection that we have with the colored people. In other words, we work with them and they work with us. And we're not going to take him and push him off somewhere just because we could do it. You tell these people that's what I've been telling them right here. Had we been your friends for years? Yes, sir. Sure. Have we worked for them and anybody in this country? Yes, sir. Sure have. Right. You got hungry, we give you something to eat, don't we? Yes, sir. And his name is Well, that's right. Now, but these are Wellesley, right? All right, man. Yes, sir. Try that name, Mr. Bill. Try that name, Mr. Bill. Yes, sir. Bill Wells. Yes, sir. Everybody loves to have that Wells. Yes, sir. Bill, man, these you find here tonight at 12 o'clock, you can go ask them to help. They wouldn't hit. I am going to watch it. Bill, if you got in trouble, who do you go to? Your white or the black? Tell the truth, man. I'll stand first, ask Bill, put him on the spot, so there ain't no color folks in it. You don't want it. He don't bad right by himself. But is there anybody here that wouldn't help you, Bill? No. We have always got along fine with the niggas. We never mistreated them. And there's no complaints. And they are all happy.
Are you happy?
Right on, colored. And the other hand is willing to make a price. Yes, sir. The price is willing to do a lot of things you think you got to have and work like the dickens. How long you been working with these?
Let me see. I don't know the exact, but it's been mighty 20 years, man.
Good whole thing, man.
Yes.
Stay sick a long time. They put you on a job that you can stay on it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, cigarette.
Yes.
Did I treat you and your dad and your brother all when you live with me over there? Did I treat you right?
Yes, sir.
I went more than halfway with you, didn't I?
Sure did. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Yes.
عاملة الشمال لشوف أطفال دباري فورازا هخفوا بين باسبارزا ليارا أف هشام النخبار وهم نرازا أف ياو عليها وهبلا ياو أف مخفخة
There's a lot of argument around how many people died during the Middle Passage of slavery. The lowest figure documented with some level of accuracy is 9 million. That's the lowest one. And we don't tie a yellow ribbon on for them. We don't ever acknowledge them. When do you remember us acknowledging them? When? And they punished Spielberg when he tried to acknowledge it. So we need to understand that these were millions of men, women, and children that perished in the trip over. Millions. And we don't ever acknowledge them. Doesn't that seem odd to you? How could that be? We've not forgotten. We have not forgotten. But they have been erased mysteriously from the pages of history. They've been erased.
In part 1 of Brought by Ships, it was established that the curse of Deuteronomy 28 and 68 is a curse upon all 12 tribes plus the tribe of Loe, aka Levi, collectively. The curse does not single out one tribe. The entire nation of Yahusharal is targeted by this curse to be shipped across the sea into slavery, first as indentured servants and then later as permanent chattel slaves with no redeemer. The only incident in recorded history that matches the details of this curse is the Middle Passage from the 15th to the 19th century. Therefore, the only people who are the nation of Yahusharal by blood are the people who descend from the survivors of the Middle Passage in the New World and their children scattered abroad. We prove this grammatically by parsing the text of Deuteronomy 28 and 68 word for word in its source language of Kabare, aka Hebrew.
Wahashivcha, Ya'o Matrain Ba'ani Oath, Badarch Ashar, Omarthe Lacha, La Tasep Go Larafha, Ohaf Mahartham Sham, La Ebecha, Lagabadem Walashbachoth, Wa'ain Kana. And brought you Ya'o, Matrain by ships, in the manner which I spoke to you. You will not any more again see it. And you sold yourselves there to your enemies for male slaves and for female slaves. And there is no redeemer.
The curse targets a specific bloodline, regardless of how you look, what language you speak, how you dress, or what African tribe you live among as a slave. The great West African kingdoms did not sell the family members of their own tribes. They sold the strangers among them from the subclans and tribes who were their servile underclass. This is the part of Black history where Pan-Africanists become agitated, because they have been pushing a false narrative that all Black people are Africans, and that Europeans captured slaves as opposed to buying slaves that African kingdoms were selling. It's time to face facts.
Did Africans trade Black people? Yes. Hell yes. And for those of us who are so sensitive and don't want to believe that, I mean, you just can't bring yourself to believe it because I don't know why. But, we got these romantic ideas that, Black people were so dumb and stupid that they would just allow some white people to come all up into their camp and just take it over with, just with ease and shit, just because they got guns. No, it didn't work like that. Them Peckerwoods could not come up in there without coming to see the head man, okay?
30 barrels, 2 kegs, and 11 flasks rum. And so it went. European slave traders found themselves bargaining with local African elite who set the terms of trade.
Wa'al game yado goral wayafano, hayalad bazona wahayalada macharo bayain wayashatho. And to my people have they cast lots, and have given the boy for a harlot, and the girl have they sold for wine, and they will drink. If you descend from a male survivor of the Middle Passage, this is who you really are. These prophecies, these curses are talking about you. You are not African, although you were shipped from Africa. You are not African American. You are not Black. You are not Negro. You are not colored. You are not Afro-Cuban or Afro-Mexican or Afro-Puerto Rican or Afro-Brazilian or Jamaican or Afro-Guatemalan or Haitian, etc. Your ancestors were shipped to these places as slaves, but that is not who you are. You are Yahusharal. That is who you are. That is your real name because you descend from a Middle Passage survivor.
Prince
You
with
are
the God.
also not Igbo or Asante or Fulbi or Fulani or Yoruba, etc. Just because your ancestors once lived in those lands, spoke their languages, and practiced their religions, does not mean you are them. You are not them. You need to understand that the African nations assimilated their slaves, and this is no different than when slaves in America became English speakers and Protestant Christians, or when slaves in South America became Portuguese speakers and Roman Catholics. The slave population is always assimilated into the culture of the dominant society. The truth is that if you are OMPP, only Middle Passage people, then your ancestors were strangers from Asia and West Africa. They were strangers who trekked across the African continent from the Nile Valley, where the tribes of Yaoshural had settlements all along the Nile River, from the delta to the border of Nubia. That is the truth. And here is the testimony of a contemporary eyewitness. Speaking specifically of the West African Guinea coast in the 17th century, 200 years before the end of slavery, John Ogilvie visited the region and later wrote, and I quote, "Many Jews also are scattered over this region, some natives boasting themselves of Abraham's seed, inhabiting both sides of the river Niger. Others are Asian strangers who fled thither either from the desolation of Jerusalem by Vespasian, or from Judea, wasted and depopulated by the Romans, Persians, Saracens, and Christians, or else such as came out of Europe whence they were banished, viz., out of some parts of Italy in the year 1342, out of Spain in the year 1462, out of the Low Countries in 1350, out of France in 1403, out of England in 1422. These all differ in habit and are divided into several tribes, having no dominion, though both wealthy and numerous, but despised by all nations." End quote. It's a fascinating observation from one of Europe's elite, but before we discuss it in detail, we need to say one thing. We have to put aside the Eurocentric presumption that Black people are not indigenous to Asia. They are. And Africa is only the motherland of humanity if you endorse the tenets of Darwinian evolutionary theory, which I unapologetically do not. The Torah is clear that the Fertile Crescent in Asia became the motherland of humanity after the Great Flood, near the beginning of the 3rd millennium BC, and mankind spread out from there to the rest of the world. The patriarch Abram was born and raised in northern Mesopotamia in 2001 BC, and we intend to argue that he is the founder of the Y-DNA haplogroup E on the human phylogenetic tree, and the father of all nations that belong to this haplogroup. What may seem controversial today was not controversial when John Ogilvie visited West Africa in the 17th century, and that is that the true Jews, the ones with the bloodline, are the people of color who went through the bottleneck of the Middle Passage during the transatlantic slave trade. The true descendants of the biblical nation of Yaoshural are OMPP.
Talk me on, talk me on. Go home. Bye bye. מעריכים, אחלה דברים שבעולם, הולכים לחיילים. You're the region, 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 you're the region. The true Jews, according to the Bible, you can check it in the Bible, you can read Job 30 in some other places. They have never been white, they have been people of color. And they have not stopped in Ethiopia. They were in Ethiopia, Sudan, and they have settled in West Africa. From West Africa, they have been taken as slaves to America. Brothers and sisters, blacks of America, it's you. You are the true Hebrews. You are the true Hebrews from the Bible. It has been deleted in your history. You don't know who you are. Don't forget about it. This is why America has been taking your history away, never to find out that it's all about you.
Don't they teach you the history of slavery? Why? Ask the bloody question. Why are they only teaching you the history of slavery as far back as the 16th and the 17th century? Why are they only going that far back? Want you to go far back. Resented the regal class of the House of Judah in their land because they had laws, they had customs, they had civility, and they were a regal class of Negro that came down into Africa. And later on, it was the Ashkenazi, the Islamic slave traders as well, that then worked together with the indigenous black Africans to enslave the regal House of Judah. Dora, halalo afya o fo hashpa barora la ya o Dora, ane abani go Dora, halalo afya o fo hashpa barora
Let's go back to examine John Ogilvy's observation in more detail. He said,
Brought by ships. Brought by ships. Ravenous Bird. Check him out. Good night, y'all. Good night.